This is revenue marketing raw. No fluff, no vendor pitches. Just the truths your CMO won't say out loud. Featuring Jeff Pedowitz and Dr. Qaqish. Let's go!
We are live and we're back. After
Yay. How's it been, Jeff? I know. We just been busy, had stuff to do, right?
Yeah, we just got shit to do,
Got shit to do. That's right.
Yeah. I think this is episode 40.
Wow, that's crazy. I gotta tell you, I love these episodes because and I like the way we're doing the commentary because everything is just changing so quickly. There's no time to do scripts and write things out because by the time you write it out, it's changed and we're on to something else. Yeah, already done it. Now, what are we going to talk about this week?
Streaming.
Real time. That's right. Real time. This is what we think about every day. That's what we do. Yes.
Matter of fact, we changed the topic 3 times from breakfast this morning. That's how fast
we did. We absolutely did.
So, about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer, you and I were talking about some different org concepts. And then we had this idea for the Amoeba organization. And then you and I both saw the same article this week from Franz
for Surma.
Yeah. About it was a picture of an org chart. It was at the managers, and it was just nothing but agents, no people, just all agents.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that today.
We're going to talk about that today. And again, I'm going to keep bringing in my science fiction analogies because it is the world that we absolutely have become. And, when you and I first created the Amoeba organization, have we published that yet, by the way?
The assessment's out. Yeah, I just, the white paper I got to get up on the site. Okay.
All right. So we have a white paper coming out on how to re-envision your marketing organization in an AI world. And it will be a big change, as it should be a big change, because as we know as marketers, the execution layer, boom, it's going away. You're not going to need people for that. But in our Amoeba structure, it was about what people would be doing and how people would be easily flowing from one team or one group to another based on the needs.
Yep.
And then Franz came out with his chart, which was, again, it's complementary to that. And imagine you've got a manager and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 direct reports, right? Now imagine that the manager no longer has live people reporting to them. They have agents reporting to them, AI agents, right? Mm-hmm. So the people that were doing the execution, hopefully they'll go up to that managerial layer. That would be a nice path for you. But then you would have agents. And then imagine, what does the manager role become in that? Because we're not talking about outputs. We're talking about bringing to the organization a different set of capabilities. It's going to be judgment. It's going to be wisdom. It's going to be more of a thinking, more of a strategic type of role. And just take any org chart that you have right now, and you've got a manager and you've got direct reports, and these are all executing people. This is what they do. And just imagine if they get replaced by agents, what does that do to the manager role? What does that do to your organization?
Yeah, I think in some ways the manager is doing what we've always wanted the managers to do, right? Facilitate the execution, mentor, develop, monitor, coach, reinforce, get resources, so that the team could execute better and the people could grow. In this case, we're not talking about career development anymore, agents, but managers can be responsible for outcomes for their team of agents. So I think now but they're bringing, just like you would want a manager to bring his or her wisdom to coach and mentor an employee. You're not coaching and mentoring an agent per se, but you are using your wisdom to evaluate the inputs, the outputs, what the agent does, the governance standards, the quality. Here's the thing, for those of us, and you and I have been around for a while, when I first learned how to code in COBOL, which is an old language, if you missed a period or a comma, it would throw off hundreds of errors, and you'd spend hours just trying to find the mistake that you made. With AI, it can convince you it's right, it's running all the time, but it could be doing disastrous things, even though it can look with confidence.
It's doing exactly what you ask it to do. Let's be clear about that, right? But sometimes you just can't think through all the permutations of what might happen given the directions that you've given it, right?
The judgment, right? But where I was going with this is someone with experience has to look at what the agent's doing, like, yeah, that's not right. Like, the speed's awesome and all, and thank you for doing 50 million widgets in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But that widget's wrong. That widget's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's not right.
Yeah.
So even though we can operate at a breathtaking scale now because of AI, it's more important than ever, to bring the human judgment. The irony in all of this, and I've had some separate posts on this. I don't want to derail the conversation too much, but all the talk about getting rid of people with AI to save money, be more efficient. Well, now everyone's like forking over all this money into AI tokens. Their technology budgets are going right back up like this again. So any money that you did save in people, you're spending way more in AI. And then how do you measure the outcome?
Yeah.
Is this extra money that you're spending on AI actually producing the outcome? So now back to this. Okay, so you're a manager and you have a team of agents. What are you being measured on? Like that, like what's the standard? You have a team of agents versus a team of actual people. What do you expect to do differently? What's the ROI payback on that? Do you get a budget of tokens? Do you get a budget of software?
Right. Yeah. Well, and you're right. And so we're kind of talking about two things. We're talking about the price of this new team structure. What is that? What is the price of that new team structure? And we're also talking about what are the new management capabilities that are required in this new organization, right? So we're kind of talking about two different things, and they're both incredibly important. And, if you're a CMO or a VP of marketing, I mean, these are the things that you have to struggle with. And I think that the pricing for these agents is just going to keep going up and up and up, right? I mean, it's
already
like
saying that,
we're already seeing that.
Particularly with Anthropic and OpenAI going public and all the money that they put into this, like,
right.
It's really funny though, because history follows this pattern. Like when SaaS first came out, it was consumption-based pricing, and then it shifted to seat-based pricing. Cell phone plans used to be based on data consumption. You'd be spending ridiculous amounts of money, and then it got normalized. I think we're going to see this huge 2-year, 3-year spike where whatever we're spending today on tech and AI is going to just go exponentially up. And
I agree. They're going to make their money. The people
they're going to make their
service.
money.
They're going to be absolutely making the money. So what we have to be able to do, to your point, is say, where's the ROI on this, right? I've got a person that I can hire. And what are those fully loaded costs? And what are the positives and negatives, right? Because if you hire the wrong person, how long does that take to, all of that kind of stuff? Or if they can't change enough as you change the organization, so there's an opportunity cost. Whereas an agent, you can just tell it what to do and it's just going to be doing something different, right? So,
yes.
but the ROI of, let's put it this way. Agents are replacing people, period. That it is absolutely positively happening.
No question about that.
The basic execution stuff is happening, and there's a huge ROI on that if it's done well. The pricing will continue to increase, but also salaries continue to increase too, Jeff. And again, if you think about the pros and cons of having a person having to manage everything around a person versus managing an agent, I mean, that sounds horrible to say, but it's
no,
true in the world of business, right?
There's been a lot. Go ahead.
But what does the marketing team capabilities need to look like moving forward? Beyond pricing, beyond the ROI, you're going to be there. And then you can't, and again, we throw money at technology all the damn time. That's what we are accustomed to. What we are not accustomed to are training people how to be better managers. That's one of the most underserved training areas in the freaking world. And I don't care what organization you're in, right?
I was thinking about that before you started, because it's been well documented the damage that social media has done to our youth and their ability to communicate and have empathy and relate.
Brain damage, actual, yeah.
So, and of course, social media has been spurred by technology. So if you now have managers managing agents most of the time, what happens to their interpersonal skills and their emotive capabilities, their emotional intelligence, if they're not managing and relating with people anymore? They're just talking to a machine, because you don't have to worry about insulting, AI. You could say whatever you want. You're like, oh, thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. I'll do better, right?
Well, hopefully they'll have a social network of other managers, right? That
but
they can interact with.
But I think it's related to your comment about managerial skill, though, because a big part of what we try and teach managers when we're actually training them: how do you communicate more effectively? How do you manage change? How do you do incentives? How do you have difficult conversations? I mean, there's a lot of skills that we teach managers. What happens to those skills when your team is composed of?
And what are the new skills, right?
Yes.
What are the new skills that when we talk about this role of a manager of a team of agents, what are the new skills that they need to have? So what do you think they are?
Well, let's start with the old, right? Because I think going back to critical thinking and judgment is a really important skill to develop. And, don't get me started on corporate America teaching critical thinking skills to managers. Don't get me started on it. Well, I was about to say, it's not like we're doing
That's
it
a
now.
swing and a miss, big time, right?
Yeah, it is a big miss. But to me, whether we want to call it a new skill or an old skill, it's a big gap, right? Because
it's a huge gap. It's absolutely huge gap.
We're trusting it too much because AI said it, because ChatGPT said it, therefore it must be true. Because it said it so convincingly. Like, we're putting an alarmingly disproportionate amount of trust into technology that still makes mistakes. Powerful technology, yes, but there's still a lot of hallucinations, and it can convince you that it's right. So
they have to have a new set of tech skills, right? That have to do with AI, right? And I think it's one thing, and it's not tech skills at the execution layer of AI. It's going to be that layer right above. You need to understand how that execution layer is working. And
you mean?
Yeah, and you need to know how to look for what is not working and what can be improved as your agents are working. So this is going to be technical, it's going to be analytical, it will be critical thinking, right? But it will be applied in a little bit of a different way. So I think that's the first thing, because if your team are agents, then you just require that level of technical skill. I also think, Jeff, that these managers are going to be more of a I think judgment. I think judgment's going to be huge. I think it's going to be a huge element here. Judgment as to when to look, how far to look, what is working, what is not working. And I also think that, instead of getting into how shall I put this? Instead of just being weeds of execution, it's how to improve what's happening, right? So it's a little bit of a systems type of thinking. It's a constant improvement type of mentality versus, damn, got to get that work done and out the door, right? So it's just this constant improvement with the knowledge that you have around how AI works, right? So I think that's going to be a skill layer there.
What about context? We talked about architecture.
Oh yeah. AI sucks at context. Context is going to be very important. So context, judgment. They may do something and the data is telling them that it's the right thing to do, but it's just out of context, right? So again, we're just, guys, we're just talking through this. It's not like we've got a sheet and we're looking at answers. We're just talking this through right now. And I advise everybody to go take a look at Franz Resurma's post on LinkedIn. It's called Everyone Becomes a Manager. And so, yeah, I think context is going to be one of those really important things too. But just think about the history of corporate America. You're an individual contributor, and then you become a manager of people because you know all about that execution, right?
Yes.
That's the reason you got into that manager role. And
I'll tell you what, another gap, which will be another huge skill, is workflow and systems oriented thinking.
Yes, absolutely, totally.
And managing agents, the whole an agent is workflow. It's a set of process, and very, very few marketing managers, including marketing ops leaders, by the way, think systemically.
I think that's absolutely true, especially as these agents are quite capable of working across department lines, right? So these agents may actually be flowing across sales and also customer success, right?
Dependencies, data. Another one is governance.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have to have really strong governance if you move to an org structure that has a manager running a team of agents, right? It is all about the oversight and ensuring that handoffs are done properly. And again, few organizations have really good governance on what's happening in AI. Getting a little bit better at it, but it's just still AI is springing up like mushrooms after a spring rain. There's damn mushrooms everywhere. Just
great metaphor.
Plethora really is, of mushrooms.
Even for the companies that have formed AI councils, then you've got all these projects over here that are outpacing what council is doing. So that's one. And then I think, look, today, so if you're a manager, you have multiple teams, you have team meetings, and then you bring the group together, right? So if you're going to be managing multiple agents, then there's orchestration of those different agents, even if they're doing different things. Or, you know, so I think you have to develop that cross-agent orchestration. So I think you need to know enough about the systems, the processes, the data that these agents that you're managing are touching. You don't necessarily need to be a full-on expert, but if it breaks, you've got to either A, yourself be able to have enough skill to go in and troubleshoot, or B, escalation is another one, Deb. Like, when do you raise the red flag to your company? Who do you raise it to? You know, that these agents are breaking, you know, because is it affecting brand, product, customers, share price? Like, you know, if an agent runs amok or something breaks, who's responsible? Is it literally the manager who's responsible for the agent? But what if the agent is dependent upon data and other systems in a different department run by a different manager?
That's
right. These are really just, and I don't have the answer for it either today.
We don't have the answer for it yet.
But I think that's another skill about like knowing when do you say scream uncle, you know?
Exactly. So I can kind of, as we're talking here, I'm just kind of breaking it down. I love this idea of they have to be a systems thinker and designer. Because again, it's going to be this constant improvement. What AI can do continues to grow and change, save money, find money, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Context and judgment has got to be there. And again, within systems thinking that you know, some technical capability with AI. But I also think collaboration is going to be bigger than ever as well. Because we are collapsing these organizations. And again, these agents are so powerful, they go across lines. And so I just think that collaboration is going to be incredibly important. And I like your idea of, you know, when do you pull the plug on something? So I'll give you an example. So in Expeditionary Force, Skippy's the AI. He's the super AI, right? But we also found out that the bombs on the Starship are also sentient. And they love going out and destroying ships. And so the bombs on the ship, they all got together and decided in what order they should go out to make the biggest, impact. So it's kind of like, while AI is not sentient, it could very well begin doing things that you did not anticipate. And being clued into that, I think, will be extremely important as well.
Yes. And I think another skill. So today, managers measure performance of their team. So what are the performance indicators for an agent that, just the ones? Yes, we know it's supposed to be more efficient, but what's the expected outcome? And how do you develop new KPIs or OKRs?
And how do you put an agent on a plan if they're not performing?
Right? Yeah. Right. And how do you count?
No. We should go get some job descriptions and just and talk about the accountability and just say, okay, if an agent was doing this, how would we measure it? What would it look like? Right?
Yeah, that'd be good. I think, of course, prompting goes without saying because you need to interact with it as you're shaping it and providing more advanced directives. So I think you really got to do that. And then relate, it's a cousin of governance, but also its own area is ethics.
Yes.
Because when you think about AI and AI for humanity, what are the ethical boundaries and constraints? Because the company or the organization has values, the manager has values and standards, and how do you impose, measure, evaluate, or hold the agent accountable for what those ethics are, and where does the human step in, and where's the agent?
That is that's a really good one because that's a pretty hot topic right now. Authenticity of brand and ethics has something to do with that. And brands are trying to be more authentic than they've ever been because, quite frankly, that's what the public wants. That's what they want to see. They're tired of the corporate bullshit. And then how do you imbue your systems thinking with your corporate culture, with your authenticity, right? And then that also speaks to how much of the agent work interfaces with humans, like customers or prospects. And maybe that's the part that's, that is looked at the most. And how do they interact? How do they represent that brand? And I will say this, I think most people at an execution level never think about any of that. They're just too busy executing. So perhaps this could be a good thing if we could somehow imbue in that systems thinking authenticity of the brand and the culture.
Although I think I can confidently make a prediction. Marketing's still going to be struggling 3 years from now, 5 years from now, because here's going to be the conversation in 3 years. So, Deb, your whole team's agents. Why aren't you hitting your number? What is marketing done lately?
It's gonna be, oh my God, somebody should do a meme on that, right? Okay, I have no people in the whole fucking org structure, right? I've got the CMO, maybe 2 people, 1 person, and I'm still going to the same meeting. So you think you contributed to revenue this quarter, really? Well, you just need to prove it. And where's the ROI? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Sales is gonna be on the other side, like, well, we brought in 15 contracts with our agents. Well, marketing, you have 100 agents running. Like, where are your contracts, right? That's gonna be the same shit.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Same day. I mean, same story, different day. I love that.
It's an sketch, right? So now, of course, that's the cynic in me, and I hope not. But I think, look, because this still comes down to if you throw everything at technology and you don't solve these fundamental problems, nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change.
Yes, you'll be able to do things faster.
That's right.
And you'll be able to do things at volume. Yeah. But just because you have AI,
we don't have a technology problem. We have a people performance problem. That's
right.
What we
and you have all the agents reporting to you in the world. That doesn't make you a better manager, and it doesn't make you a better leader. It just makes you sitting on top of more shit.
Yeah.
So if you know what to do with it, and you can actually make the right business decisions and drive towards an outcome, then yes, you can actually completely separate from the pack and actually start to really have an impact on the business.
And again, we have this perfect history of, you and I met, 2005, maybe? 2004. And, I was using Eloqua. Jeff worked for Eloqua. He came down to talk to me about, best practices because, honey, there were 0 best practices in the market at that time. And ever since then, we have this technology that just drives everything. And in that entire history of technology growth, we haven't done a whole lot to help the people aspect of this. And in the world of AI, while yes, AI is taking jobs, it is also creating new jobs. And if we are not obsessive over what these new capabilities will be to help us run the best marketing organization ever, we're just going to miss the boat. Money must be spent on the human potential in your organization, not just technology.
Preach. Amen.
Preach.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll keep talking about org charts and processes and stuff, but yeah, it still is about people.
Yeah, but I think it's a very exciting time to be in marketing. I think it's a very exciting time to be a leader. There are so many exciting new opportunities and new paths. And so my advice to everybody is grab it and growl.
I like it. All right. Until next time, everybody, we'll keep it raw.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.